Yeah, sure. There was a one. So meeting's in order. We have some Girl Scouts here. I'm going to ask them to come up and lead us in the pledge of allegiance. Ready, girls? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Let's do a roll call.
Ms. Brown? Here. Mr. Clark?
Here.
Ms. Enrico? Mr. Cole? Here. Mayor Noel?
Here. We're going to go off script for a minute, folks. You may not know that this is Mr. Hill's last council meeting. So we made a plaque. I'd like them to come up so we can present it to them. This is from obviously the community, the mayor, the council, and all the people that served before us. So it says, to a special friend and colleague, Timothy Hill, retired with distinction on the 31st of May 2016 from the Borough of Highlands after 37 years of extraordinary service. A time to look back with admiration, a time to look forward with anticipation. I don't think the town, or I know myself, will ever understand how much you did for us, whether we the rec program in the 37 years, all the kids that came through here that I know you're still in contact with, many of them. Obviously what happened in all the times of need, Sandy's, in particular when you lived in the high school, and I've been there with you, all of those folks that did. So we can never say more than thank you, and mean it from the bottom of my heart. I consider you a friend. There's also an award. Now, you may not know this, but a lot of groups obviously come here and have meetings, and Tim's been involved over the years with some of them doing stuff. And the Girl Scouts want to give him something and say a few words. So one of the Girl Scouts here, some girl named Gloriana Nolan, is going to give a quick presentation. I give the Good Neighbor Award to Mr. Hill.
I would like to acknowledge Mr. Hill for all his hard work, dedication, and support for the Girl Scouts, the Highlands kids in our community. He has also been there through the low tides and the high tides and has never let us sink. Thank you for running an awesome summer kids program, for setting up the lineup for all the parades and helping at Highlands tree lightings, and always being there for everyone. Troop 273, 1660, and 1900 would like to present the Regional Good Neighbor Award to Mr. Timothy Hill for his support and dedication to the Girl Scouts in our community for over 30 years. On behalf of all the Girl Scouts and our leader, Miss Lori, we wish you relaxation and best of luck with your retirement.
Thank you, Mr. Hill. Don't give the cookies to Dale. So,
That brings us to the first item on the agenda, is resolution R16-120, resolution appointing the borough administrator.
as we know, life goes on, we're gonna miss Tim a lot. He's definitely a friend of the borough. Now we're gonna welcome a new potential long-term friend. So resolution 16-120, there's been multiple interviews, multiple conversations through many of the council people, and a lot of checking from people that we know in the community. It's always a small community, municipal life. So I've heard nothing but good. I know that Carolyn, Doug, Claudette, and Steve Becky had some conversations, multiple interviews with our group that did it. And we'd like to welcome Brian Gogan aboard, and I'll offer that.
Okay, that would be for Brian McGeegan with an annual salary of $110,000, hourly rate $52.88. Those are the blanks in the resolutions. Offered by Mayor Nolan,
I'll second.
second by Ms. Bouillon. Ms. Bouillon,
Yes.
Mr. Card,
Yes.
Ms. DeRigo,
Yes.
Mrs. Wells,
Yes.
Mayor Nolan.
Yes. So we'll vote, right? Now, we talked about an executive session, we're gonna have to go to code names, because we have two non-professionals at every meeting named Brian. So in the same way, so we'll figure it out. Yeah, but we'll let you know, two Carols, two Brians, so we'll let you know as we go forward. Okay, that is the first public portion, we're gonna open up. And this is on the consent agenda, right, and other resolutions?
Yeah.
Okay,
Well, actually, if I could make a motion, we need to strike a couple of these.
please.
Resolution 16-127,
Okay.
that needs to come out because Brian Shabarak, our attorney, is taking a look at the current ordinance to see if there might be some tweaking there, so no sense in appointing members more than changing the
Oh, Grace, right?
And also 16-128, as that applicant has taken another position.
Can I ask one thing? I'll go forward, obviously, I'll back you up on that. 127, Brian, when do you think we should bring, is there a timetable back to the table, or is it just indefinite?
Well, the issue also becomes who it is from public officer and who the borough decides to appoint as the public officer, so that's something we should take a look at. And
Sure.
I would suggest
Table.
probably indefinitely.
Okay, that's fine.
Let's get it June 15th with the plans and try to bring it back.
That's fine, it sounds like 128 is indefinite, because that person has opted out, correct?
Correct. And also 125, as we discussed in exec, is being tabled until June 1st.
So that'll be the 6-1, 125?
Okay, so 125, Ms. Brown's motion is to table 127, 125, and 128.
Correct.
Seconded by?
I'll second.
Seconded by Ms. Wells. Ms. Bouillon?
Yes.
Mr. Card?
Yes.
Ms. DeRigo?
Yes.
Mrs. Wells?
Yes.
Mayor Nolan.
Yes. Do we have anything else at the table that anyone wants to talk about on the first two groups of items? No?
I'd like to table the recreation aid for,
That would be 16-121?
Yep.
Is you want that, Mr. Ego, is that indefinitely, or you want to wait till sometime in June?
I'd like to wait until Brian has got his feet a little bit wet and.
Brian, our administrator.
I knew it better.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Okay.
Seconded by Mr. Card. And this is tabled until the June meeting or until when?
I think it's indefinite right now, we're just
Indefinite.
gonna wait till.
I'm just concerned, is there a need, like, right away, are we filling a position that we're gonna incur overtime now, or? I don't know, because it's the first I'm hearing about it, so nothing was brought up in executive, so I'm not sure.
Mr. Hill, is this,
I said the motion on the table was seconded to, so shouldn't the vote be taken first? It was second recognized by Ms. Cummings, so roll call should be taken first. By parliamentary procedures, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, so roll call first.
please?
Yes, to incur overtime, that's good.
Ms. Bouillon?
Yes.
Mr. Card?
Yes.
Ms. DeRigo?
Yes.
Mrs. Wells?
No, with no, just to speak to it, having no knowledge of this, or,
Issue's been tabled. On the parliamentary procedure, when the issue's tabled, it can no longer be spoken
Mayor
about.
Nolan?
I'll say yes. Anything else we want to talk, at the table, want to talk about, take about separately, or address before we open up public portion? Okay. Public portion on the first group of items, name and address, please.
Al Buckham, 330 Shore Drive. I just have a question about R16-126. I thought the program was good myself because it benefited us. I know I have complained about the fact that each unit in our building is assessed $90,000 for the land, and we're all sitting on the same land. And with this thing, whatever it is, the pilot program, they reduced it to $75,000 for the land. So I thought the program was pretty good. I'm wondering why we want to opt out. I would suspect that maybe the 1, 2, 3, 4th whereas is the cause because of the complaints that were registered at 2 meetings ago.
Well, I think more than that, Carol, I think that to your point, it worked for you, so it seems good, and that's fine. You want to always, but I also heard from a lot of people who weren't happy with the feedback. And I've also talked to a lot of people in town, I'll be honest with you, a lot of, in other towns, and a lot of them went one way and going the other way, and they still haven't decided. We have a deadline, obviously, so we have to make a decision, we're still gonna vote.
I know all those senior complexes, they went way up, so they're all upset because they.
That's my point, I've heard just the same from the opposite.
They're paying their fair share anyway.
Right.
So, but I do want to caution you, if you drop this program and you hire that West New York realty company to ever come in this town again, you're out of your minds, all of you.
I'm gonna hope that one doesn't have to necessarily make the other happen,
I
let's just say
hope
that.
not.
I don't know how the vote's gonna go, just in general, I make that statement. I don't think one makes the other necessarily happen, but I get your point. Any other comments on the consent agenda and resolution?
Kim Scorpio, Shore Drive. To follow up on R16-126, in theory, I like the idea of properties being reassessed every 5 years. It saves that 7, 10, 15-year gap, which could lead to a bigger increase or decrease. But as we spoke at a previous meeting, my issue was with the tax assessor, and I was speaking with someone else before the meeting. Why is waterfront land decreasing in value at such a drastic rate in this borough? There's a finite amount of waterfront property in the state. I can't understand why it's decreasing in value.
I think that that is another issue. I don't disagree with you. I think that they're not making any more, so common sense would say their value would go up.
And if waterfront land is dropping that much,
What's happening to
my
Bay Avenue and Short
non-waterfront
Drive, right?
should most definitely decrease, and the tax assessor won't budge.
Okay.
So now I really think I don't think the problem is with the program, and I'm fine if we opt out of it. I don't care either way.
Right, and I
I
think
just like the
that's,
idea of having a scheduled reassessment as opposed to just, figuring it out whenever we want.
and I will tell you this without, going somewhere I shouldn't go. We've talked about many of the issues you've talked about today, and many more that we've had from other residents, and we've already discussed things to do that have nothing to do with this program. Let's just say that, to try to resolve that issue. Okay.
And for our 16-117, since somebody else is speaking to it, I'm gonna say go ahead and remove it. We're gonna spend money whether we keep it or it goes. I support the removal.
Okay.
Andrew Stockton, 31 Grand Tour, with regard to R16-117 and the resolution to the removal of the tilt-up structure. I don't know why this is on the agenda at this time. I remember in the January meeting, Councilman Card mentioned that he was going to assure all of us in the borough that this would be fully vetted and fully understood, yet the council hasn't come forward and produced any numbers on the cost of removal. I know there were preliminary estimates for the removal that ranged from $9,600 to about $36,000, which I think are extremely low for the demolition and removal. I think the council owes the public, all of us, an explanation of the numbers and what it's actually going to cost the taxpayers for this removal. I think any money that the council spends from our tax dollars on this is an obscene waste of money, and there are higher priorities for the council to attend to, like getting a new borough hall, getting street and roadway improvements done, and other infrastructure that needs to be fixed at a much higher priority than this. Please explain to me what the cost is going to be to the taxpayers for the removal.
I think that, Andrew, when we vote, that we're all probably going to say, I would think more than one word, but I'm going to say why I'm voting or what I'm voting for when that happens. But I think we've talked about this a long time, and whether we're gonna do it or not, I think it's, the vote tonight is not gonna make it come down tomorrow, by no means. There's a lot of other things that have to be addressed, if you will, and there's gonna be some agencies and some private groups that weigh in on this, whether we vote on it or not, to take it down or not.
One of the items that I am also concerned with is a parliamentary procedure to follow the municipal land use law, where the council is going to undertake any project that costs the spending of any public funds. 40:55D-31 requires the council to bring that plan to the planning board for review and for consistency determination with the master plan requirements of the town. Has that been done?
Andrew, question, was that done when the
It
installation?
should be done.
Excuse
The
me,
law says.
I'll answer your question, I'm gonna ask a question.
Okay.
Was that done for the installation of this project?
The installation of the project did not require that because the installation did not cause the need for spending any public funds. That's clearly in the law, and I can give you a copy of that.
Thank you. I don't have to give you a copy, I have it.
I underlined it for
All
you.
right, thank you.
Any other comments on the agenda items?
R16-129.
Cover the name for the record.
Dr. Basinger, 12 Mill Street. On R16-129, we are getting the permits and everything for that, so we don't have this whole tilt up crap.
That would be our understanding as a
Okay.
council.
Thank you.
Actually, New Jersey Transit does handle that, but won't have anything that has to be done on the town side. We will get every permit that needs to be taken.
Thank you.
Lori Nolan, 65
I'll go back, I'll
Sun
wait.
Also on R16-129, is this giving them the okay to go forward with this? What is this exactly? Because we haven't seen,
Drawings or,
we haven't saw drawings.
well, we didn't come up with set design. We talked about it.
Yeah, they gave us.
We haven't done it. So this is just going forward saying we want to do it, but we have not picked one of the 6 designs yet. We have a lot of concerns about what they look like, where exactly it was going and all that. That'll be vetted out over the next X amount of meetings. So we haven't picked the design yet, we haven't picked anything it's gonna look like.
That's what the resolution, again, back to tilt up, is that what the resolution says, that we should respect?
I want to make sure that it's stating, because out of the 16 or 6 things you're saying that they're gonna give to us, I don't recall ever seeing any from New Jersey Transit, anywhere up and down from 117 in any other town, that they haven't put up like they do on the highway. And that definitely does not go with our scheme on the borough in Huddy Park.
Right, the 16-129 lock us into a design, or just we're going forward and want to do it?
It's authorized to sign the agreements that are attached number 1, and I don't know if they specify the design.
It doesn't want to.
And that's giving them a little bit of kind of
Free hand.
okay. Don't we think we should know what we're getting into before we do it?
I would offer that we table it and move, and then even if in the future, if we put a resolution on the table, that we do have a public hearing on it. Thank you for putting that out.
I would second that for Mr. Carter. Now we're gonna table it indefinitely, or?
Well, I mean, I don't mind passing it pending a public, public input.
I think we have enough questions to table it right now, personally.
I did
Let's
the
know what we're
very
doing
well.
before we even give
Especially if
them
we're not
that.
sure of the design or.
Okay. All right, Mr. Parker, motion to table this indefinitely or to the next meeting or?
We're gonna have everything in 2 weeks, I would say it's gotta be, let's say the 15th, so we have a month to get our.
June 15th?
So, yeah, I don't think we got to rush it.
Second by Ms. Rigo. Ms. Brian?
Yes.
And one
Mr.
last
Carr?
question on that, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Is this pushing from New Jersey Transit or is someone in the borough pushing for this?
Someone
On
from
the
the borough wrote to New Jersey Transit and requested a bus shelter at the bus stop in Huddy Park.
I got an email from them also.
Yeah, they did an executive session, and I think we can talk about it, they presented that the people were requesting a bus stop, and that's why we're this.
And there were some options for.
Some options. and-
Because maybe it's something we want to talk about as the borough with maybe the Highlands Business Partnership or so forth. If there really is a need there, maybe it's something we want to do a little bit more on our own in-house and not let them have the,
I don't think it could hurt as long as we can control in a good way the design,
Right,
placement, and all that good stuff.
we know where that Mr. goes.
Please,
Ms. Fiorigo?
Yes.
Mrs. Wells?
Yes.
Mayor Nolan?
yes. Okay?
We finish the public hearing?
No, we still have a few more.
Before
Keep going.
Drive, I have a quick question on Tilt Up that I haven't asked in public. But Tilt Up kept saying this was installed at no cost to us. My understanding is Mr. Hill was on borough time in his meetings and phone calls and emails. Dale Lubner was involved in some emails, might have been minimal time, and our police department was also involved in some discussions in closing the street. Did Tilt Up ever reimburse us for those salaries, for that time spent?
Answer is no.
So it did cost us money to install it, yet we didn't go through whatever procedures Mr. Stockton presented.
Even if it was diverting people who are on salary or whatever, then the answer would be it took them some of that time, so obviously there's a dollar amount attached to it.
Okay, thank you.
Mary Salzman, Snug Harbor, I'm gonna shock you and not talk about Hilltop.
Okay.
I'm just wondering, I mean, I don't know if it's appropriate now or later, if Mr. Brian, whose name I didn't catch, if it's appropriate for him to sort of introduce himself to the assembly.
Yeah, what I was gonna do is do that right after we did this first public portion of the vote, and then we had a
I
little
was just
downtime. It's a good idea.
Thank
Peter, you wanna go name and address, please, for the record?
Yeah, Peter Mullen, Pleasant Range Place, Highlands. I want to support Andrew. I think that the money that is expended on this is certainly part of a capital improvement. It should go through the planning board review. And even if, as Doug may be indicating that it wasn't done properly the first time, it doesn't make an excuse for not doing it properly the second time. Let's do part of this right.
Thank you, Ms. Dibble, name and address for the record?
Lori Dibble, 2 Matthew Street. At the last council meeting, Mayor, you said that it would be inappropriate to vote on this resolution because we don't have all the facts, we don't have all the numbers that we need in order to make a good judgment. Has something changed from the last council meeting and this council meeting for you?
I'm gonna say I'll let you know what's changed for me or not at the vote time, but I would say that some of the vendors that we spoke to did reconfirm, it's fair to say, their costs. And some of the questions that we had as a council and some of the public that we brought to them about removal and other things like that was made us lead to believe that there was no additional cost, and that's fair to say. I don't want to speak for everybody here. So I will tell you how I'm gonna vote when the time comes, and the reason why, but let's leave it at that.
But also at the last council meeting, it was said that we should be moving forward on a dual track, one of acquiring the permits and one of looking at the possibilities of removal. Have we been doing that?
Possibility of removal, yes. Moving forward, permitting it, no. Anything else? I'm not trying to be funny, ask it.
No.
Please name and address.
Katie Reed, 7 Snug Harbor Avenue. In respect to what Andrew said, could we possibly, didn't everybody just give up their salary, the $3,000 for the year? Could we just reappropriate the cost saving to fund whatever we're supposed to be paying for or not paying for out of tax money?
Well, I think if it comes down to a vote to take it down and that we get to that point.
6, 9, 12, 15,000 right there.
Yeah, I think if it comes down to a vote to take it down and we get to that point as a majority vote that way, that there's other options to, basically collect that money. That doesn't include, there's always obviously one of them is a fallback, it's a tax increase, but the others are out there, not to, fan the flames and propaganda. There's many other options out there that do not include the public money. And I think anyone, that would be erroneous to state that that's the only option. Okay. Chief, you're good, I see you moving your hand, I'm ready now. Does anybody have anything else before we vote? I think it would be appropriate if we could do, sir, please.
How you doing? This isn't about anything in print. As far as any new matters that are not in print, are we able to?
There'll be another public portion.
Oh, okay.
This is just for the first vote.
All right,
Okay.
sorry, first time here.
I'd like to offer that we vote on 117 separately, so we can get the others voted and then give our comments.
That's how it's presented.
Yeah, no, that's fine, I'm saying what we come to.
Yes, we can do that anyway.
Perfect, so let's go consent agenda, anyone have anything they want to talk about at the table? Carolyn, is everybody okay to vote on the executive and regular minutes from the 20th? Okay, so you're gonna stay. I just want to make sure we're all voting in open vote.
And actually, just under the R16-124, accepting resignations, I know we had one person that we did not put on the committee because we had hit the 9,
Okay.
which was Carlos Zavala, so I don't know if you want to put her on and then go ahead and advertise for more people.
Let's advertise for more people and we can have that conversation. I have no problem with that.
Yeah. I think she was the last one left out of the
Perfect.
pile.
Yeah, I don't have any problem with people, putting it out there, get some more folks who we may not have known about the first time. Is that, everybody's good, all offer that?
Offered by Mayor Nolan,
I'll second.
second by Ms. Breon. Ms. Breon?
Yes.
Mr. Card?
Abstain. On the consent agenda.
On everything, right?
Yeah.
Ms. Fioriga?
Not the board of-
Yes.
Mrs. Wells?
Yes.
Mayor Nolan?
Yes.
Okay, it's to resolution R16-117.
Hey, Brian, would you do me a favor, just read exactly what this resolution means when we vote for it? It's like, a lot of people have speculated that means the dozers are moving into tomorrow. Let's just,
It certainly does not mean that. It
Okay, I
just
appreciate
gives authorization to the borough officials to start the process to make sure it's done the right way.
Okay.
And to just begin the process.
any comments or questions before we vote at the table?
Offer it.
Offered by Mr. Card. I'll second. Second by Ms. Fioriga.
Roll call, please.
Ms. Breon?
Yes.
Mr. Card?
Yes.
Ms. Fioriga?
Yes, absolutely.
Mrs. Wells?
I'm gonna vote no, and we're at the opportunity
Let's
to
have a
speak,
comment,
correct?
absolutely. I think it's something like this we should.
Okay, and I just wanna say, I'm just voting no, especially because in the package that was furnished to the council, we did receive in writing from Austin Construction, the letter stating they wouldn't pay for any permitting fees required with this. No, we haven't moved forward with getting it into compliance yet because we also at the same time have a resolution to knock it down. So we wanna make sure, they're willing to hold up their end, help Mr. Hill, help Brian, help us, get to the point of compliance. They're willing to pay the fee associated with it. I believe the last sentence says, again, I want you to know, we stand ready to provide payment for the additional permitting and for any follow-up engineering that's necessary to secure permits. So I just wanted to say that into the record, and I'm concerned moving forward of the tax burden it's gonna bring. So I know there's ways that we can go about getting it back, which includes litigation, which then incurs more tax dollars. So we'll just have to see. I don't think, really I'm the minority on this, so, and I'm also the same person who's gonna have to pay for it out of my tax dollars as yours too.
So that's enough. I mean,
That's it.
that's enough.
No.
Mayor Nolan?
I'm gonna vote no for the only reason is I don't like it. I think it should be gone.
No,
I
I
think
think, what do you, how you voting
Are
on?
we yes for approval or no?
you're voting yes to knock it down.
Yes.
Right. You voted no.
Right.
Right.
And then you said I'm voting no.
I'm voting no to knock it down because I think we didn't vet out a lot of the stuff. I get, trust me, I want it, like I said, I take a sledge to it tomorrow. But I don't want to be back in the same boat with more issues. And one of those issues is we know that we're gonna have some easements we're gonna need. We know that we're gonna have some issues related to maybe some dollars and cents we're not really sure of right now. And I do just think something like this, I think we're elected to make decisions, but I think some things go to referendum like we did with, changing the form of government and how you vote and all that good stuff. And so that's my 2 cents, I'm gonna vote no because of that, but I, hope it goes down. It's all
Okay,
right.
so the motion carries to authorize the demo.
Okay. R16-118,
Resolution approving petition to extend the license premise.
okay, Chief, are you okay with this?
Generally, I'm okay with it, but I know, speaking with Mr. Hill, the borough is requesting a student certificate that Mr. That was going to provide.
Because this is going to be using a part of the borough road, correct?
Yes, part of the
This
borough road.
resolution authorizes that as well.
And he said he was getting it, I haven't seen a copy of it though, I'm sure he's getting it, so I haven't seen a copy of it.
So pending a copy of the insurance certificate, you're okay?
Yeah.
Mr. Hill, did we get that, do you know?
Not to my knowledge, that's what it is.
Oh, we're pretty sure that he has insurance? I mean, I'm pretty confident.
Yeah, but I think, he needs a
The joint insurance funds of Meldip has requested in the standard policy that they provide the borough as additional insured for a minimum of $1 million liability because they are using our property for a private type event. So it's requested.
When is the event?
June, he's got time to get it to us, but
June 5th.
June 5th.
I would strongly encourage to make sure that that certificate is in and on file because it can create issues if a problem arises.
So can we give a deadline, Brian, to approve it, that we have this certificate by a certain time?
The resolution specifically approves the application subject to conditions, and those conditions include providing a certificate of insurance and satisfaction to the administrator, as well as other conditions which are included.
May I ask you a question now? Normally the next step for me is the next day to sign this and send it to the ADC, and then they actually issue the license.
And that takes a little bit of time.
Well, if we're gonna do this condition, then I can't send it to the state.
I'm not doing
Correct.
that.
Not until they satisfy the
Agreed.
conditions contained in the resolution.
So common sense would say this, in my mind, anyway.
And they're supposed to get it 2 weeks prior to.
I can say that, so guess what? That's not on me, that's on him.
All right, I just wanna make
And
it known.
I appreciate that. So the phone call tomorrow at 8:30 or 8:50, when you get there, just go. When you get to work tomorrow, the comment would be like that, right? The comment tomorrow would be, hey, we approved it last night, contingent, if we did, contingent on this document. If you don't have it by Friday, you're probably not gonna have it. That's on them, not us.
Okay.
I'll offer that with that stipulation.
Second by Mayor Nolan, second by Ms. Breon. Ms. Breon?
Yes.
Mr. Card?
Yes.
Ms. Diarigo?
Yes.
Mrs. Wells? Yes. Mayor Nolan.
Yes.
Resolution R16-125, resolution appointing DPW seasonal, that was tabled.
We tabled, yeah, 21, 25, so we'll go to 26, I believe.
26, resolution opting out of the Mullen County assessment program.
I think this is one of those things where, I think, you know, if you talk to 10 people, 5 tell you it's great, 5 tell you it's terrible. What's the flavor on the council?
I'd like to offer it.
To opt out.
Yes.
Okay, I'll second that.
Offered by Ms. Breon, second by Mayor Nolan. Ms. Breon? Yes. Mr. Card?
Before I go, I just want to make it very clear, we're put up, Mayor Nolan said, we're put up here to make decisions sometimes with imperfect information. This is a perfect situation.
Yep.
We don't know what's going on. The county rolled out this program, it's backfired in multiple directions. So I think it is the right move, this decision I'm making to vote yes, to opt out. Because we don't have all the information, it's a high-risk fight.
And talking to our counterparts, to your point, you have to tell you it's great, you have to tell you it's not.
Yeah, it's all over.
Yeah, I agree.
So that's a yes. Mr.
Yes.
Card? Ms. Diarigo?
Yes.
Mrs. Wells?
I'm gonna vote no, and I just wanna say a couple things, because I've also looked into it, talked with some CFOs from other towns as well. I mean, at this point, half our town is reassessed, the other half isn't, so we're opening ourselves up to a little bit there. We would have to reassess every 8 to 10 years. Under this program, it just kind of happens and keeps the market ratio a little more fluid. Since the values are constantly reviewed by other outside agencies, there's a little less chance of error. And under this program, we've already seen a decrease in our appeals, so I think it can only be a cost savings to us, which is what I think we should, you know, which I think is my job to sit here and watch out for.
So you're going to vote for no, you're second, okay?
Mayor Nolan.
I'm going to vote to opt out, and I'll tell you why. I think there's a lot of great points we all mentioned up here. I think the first thing we should do is obviously take care of a lot of these question marks, if you will, that were brought up about our taxation division, that were brought by many residents here and to each of us, I'm sure, we have conversations. And then put together a proactive plan to do the same thing, but do it ourselves and do it where you're doing X amount of properties every X amount of years, and you budget it with obviously the help of the finance committee and our CFO and who's ever, you know, the council liaisons are at that point. So I'm going to vote yes to opt out. Too many questions.
Okay, motion carries. Okay, resolution 127 was tabled.
I think we're down to 130.
Yes, resolution appointing, approving mechanical shared service agreement with Atlantic Highlands.
Doug, did you want to take any of this?
With Mr. Hill and I met with Adam today, we reviewed it. I'm comfortable with what Adam explained to us. Unfortunately, there's a $5 increase over, I think it was 6 years since the last one.
6 years since the last one.
Since the last one, in place of, I think, said 2%. Adam did agree that we need some operational procedures on documentation of the work that's being done. Confident in the mechanics. I did review going outside other services, bidding it out. The cost savings was just not there. We have a good thing. We just need the details, so I would offer it. I think we should embrace it.
We talked about also making some changes about documentation, and more stringent access to those documentations. We had a lot of great ideas in executive session, that's why it took so long. Talking about doing vehicle logs, things like that, that you know, a lot of people would think would be standard operating procedure, and to bring that in, obviously under the umbrella of this and keep going. I agree with you. If you look at, and this is what I do for a living, if you look at the outside, the labor rates have gone up 20, 30, in some cases 40%. in the private sector for automotive repairs, so it's all $5. I'm not, making that it's nothing, but it's well within reason in my mind. I'll second.
Second by Mayor Nolan. Ms. Brouillon?
Yes.
Mr. Card?
Yes.
Ms. DiRigo?
Yes.
Mrs. Wells?
I'm actually gonna abstain, just so that there's full disclosure. My brother is the mechanic, he works for the Borough of Atlantic. So, although there's not a benefit to him, I don't want anything crazy.
Thank you. Mayor Nolan?
I will say yes.
Okay, the ordinance for 01611, the traffic ordinance, I'm gonna request a motion to table to June 1st because of the publication issue.
So we have an issue publicizing illegally.
Correct.
Obviously, I'll offer that then.
Offered by Mayor Nolan,
All second.
seconded by Ms. Brouillon. Ms. Brouillon?
Yes.
Mr. Card? Ms. DiRigo?
Yes.
Mrs. Wells?
Yes.
Mayor Nolan?
Yes, I'd like to ask one question before we go on to the next thing. Chief, are you okay with the ordinance?
Yes.
Okay, so just so we don't have to work on something else in 2 weeks, okay. Yeah, now, I'd like also, Brian, you mind just get up, give everybody a brief background and your name and what's your cell phone number and where you live?
My name's Brian Gagan. I'm a resident of Toms River. You can get a hold of me by calling the mayor. Professionally, my history, I'm a retired police officer. I was a traffic bureau supervisor in Jackson Township for many years. I retired about 2 years ago. Since that time, I've been the administrator for the borough of Shipbottom in Long Beach Island. I've also volunteered in my local community in Toms River, Sullivan section on the first aid squad and Bolton Fire Company. I'm also a paramedic, but my status is currently inactive for that. Educationally speaking, I hold my master's degree in administrative science from Fairleigh Dickinson University, which is management and supervision. I have done some coursework towards my PhD in public policy and management. However, I've discontinued that for cost reasons. I'm also a certified public manager through Fairleigh Dickinson University. I'm an adjunct faculty member for Fairleigh Dickinson as well. As you can see, I believe my alma mater. And I hope I have a long, successful tenure here.
So, welcome aboard, sir. Thank you.
That brings us to the borough engineer status report.
We have two representatives here from T&M. Who's going to give us the report?
Oh,
Thank you.
Yeah. I'll get to this map that I'm handing out in a minute. Let me just go through the rest of the report. Basically, the overall stormwater project, permits are all obtained except for potentially 3 acres with the generator. I'll work with Mr. Carter, Mr. Brouillon, and Brian. I still can't pronounce your last name yet. I'll get there. So I'll just kind of reference you. I'll work with you 3. Well, you're going to be leaving in a week, so. Tim until he does officially retire. And we'll get that squared away. Happy to report on the Rose Street pump station. All permits have been received. I just have to sit down and go over the final design with our subcommittee, and we can actually get that put out the bid. The community center walkway project has been lingering out here for a while. So just to refresh everybody's memory, we put it out once. Bid came in at $55,000, which is astronomical. We put it out again. We got no response. And then actually solicited a quote from Fiore Construction to Shore Drive. Unfortunately, we ran out of money in that contract, just because we had other infrastructure that had to be done. Bay Street repairs, the Huddy Avenue, or Huddy Park, I should say, drainage pipe that was supposed to be done in the Linden Waterworks project isn't moving forward at this time. We gotta get that done because of the streetscape and everything that's coming through. So unfortunately, right now, I don't have a mechanism to implement that project. We're going to continue to try to move forward, work with the borough, Mr. DeWazio, if you can way to try to get this thing moved forward. So we'll see what we can do with this one.
Dale, did you say Fiore gave you a quote or no?
We had asked for one, and then as he did the other projects, he didn't know the numbers. Yeah, just wasn't.
I just want to see if we got another astronomical one or maybe
Yeah,
a
just
little.
wasn't feasible.
Okay.
It seems like a lot of them, the scare, if you will, was the asphalt portion of the walkway, not the mat allowed to be, it was actually the asphalt against the bulkhead is what they were concerned about.
Okay.
The streetscape project, the sand concrete contractor is coming back the day after Memorial Day. We did confirm with the EDA that we do have until January to complete the project. However, physical construction will be completed in July. We're working out the amenities such as the bike racks, the trash receptacles, the benches, so that's all being marked out. And then contractor did want to come back Monday, but rather than rip up the sidewalks and everything and start construction back in full force before Memorial Day, thought better of that, and so they're going to start on the 31st, which is the day after. Going back to Shore Drive, that project has been completed. We got a punch list that we're completing to give the contractor to complete that before we do close him out. Did do a portion of Fay Street that needed to get done. A lot of these, we'll call them finger streets that come into Shore Drive: Marine, Matthews, King, Fay, Locust, Willow. So if we're able to get one off the list, as we can build, we'll get them done. It was Fay was the easiest. It was least expensive because it is narrow. So that was we crossed that one off the list for me. West. The Shrewsbury Avenue project and the North Street stormwater storm sewer inflow pipe. That project is complete. Also in a punch list phase. They did some striping today. I know the fire officials have requested for some additional striping between the two restaurants on Cornwall Street, where we did recently pay for fire lane bill parking. So I actually talked to them today. We'll be able to get the striper back to work that out. I mean, that's a minimal cost.
That's just something that's gonna be handled.
Yeah, absolutely. The pipe portion of the project went well on North Street. That was something that was long overdue, needed to be done. Something that's been that's sat for quite a time. And Shrewsbury Avenue itself came out decent. You will see, at least on Short Drive, David Shrewsbury, you will see a company come out to cut road cords, unfortunately, but that's a state requirement. It's a DOT requirement to cut a board cylinder of the road every so often, so they test them and then they have to make sure that they comply with the state specs.
Just make sure before we close out anything, that the property owner who has outstanding claims.
That was my next thing.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I don't want to steal your thunder.
I do have one property owner claim that does remain to be addressed.
Is it a legitimate claim?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, just make
I
sure.
mean, from our aspect looking at it, I mean, obviously we'll go, they have their insurance company vet it out.
Yeah.
But it doesn't,
Make sure the
appear that.
reality, and we can take care of it before we release any last payments.
No, absolutely. And then we have been in touch with Monmouth County to satisfy the grant requirement for community development. Obviously, we want to get that off the books, as we would like to apply for another project this year. So that project, the contractor will be working back on punch list items, and the project overall will be completed. Keep in mind that was DOT funding and CD funding on that project. Just a side note, I did ask the contractor to give me a quote on Washington Avenue on a portion that still has to be paved, that repair area. He declined it. Okay. He has no interest in it. So, I'll leave that at that. The Vets Park Electric project, design has been completed. Council has advised that they have a donor that is looking to donate the materials for all the electric components of the project. So with that being said, we're changing the documents to reflect a labor-only bid. So that project will be advertised over the next 2 weeks. All right. We'll call it the Avenue Streetscape Phase 2, which is the gap, if you will. Design has been completed. It was sent to the county as promised, as I discussed last month. It is at the county under review. As soon as that comes back, we're ready to go out to bid with that and advertise that. I know there'll be some discussions with the DDIS people that I will have. I talked to Mrs. Follow earlier about that. So we'll see where we go with that. Skin reimbursement assistance.
Bill, can I just add one thing?
Sure.
Get my train of thought. Let's make sure, obviously, we had this conversation in executive, so everybody knows. Some of the things that we, couldn't do in the past, for dollars and cents reasons.
Oh, absolutely.
And some of the things that we're not finished totally on here, and there might be another opportunity for the new grant writers under your guys' umbrella.
Absolutely.
Let's make sure they're obviously addressing these first.
Right. And some of the items, like say the North Street pipe, that grant was applied for and received, and then also Sandy has. So that's been on the,
Some of the low-hanging fruit things, like, that aren't just great things, they all add up.
Absolutely, you better believe it. So the Borough Hall portion of the FEMA reimbursement, just to reiterate some things, we did receive the RFPs from the architects. On April 8th, 19 did submit, which was a very high number. The borough finalized a selection committee to interview and select the project architect. There has been a short list that's been determined, a short list of architects that will be interviewed, and that will, those interviews will be held on May 24th, which is next Tuesday. All right, just moving down into Grants and Loans, that gets into the map that I figured that out. The area in orange is actually the eligibility area by Monmouth County Community Development. That area has been adjusted greatly from years past. I'm told in 2 years from now it's going to be adjusted again. However, if the borough is interested in applying for any kind of a grant through Monmouth County Community Development this year, it has to be something inside this orange area. A couple of things that came to mind is the email I sent out the other day was potentially funding towards the Linden Waterwich drainage project that we had talked about. Also, potentially 2nd Street, down behind where the trailers were on DPW. That road's in extremely bad shape. Has been touched in quite some time, and it's getting worse. I think it's later on the agenda. I think Carolyn got a complaint about that too. Actually,
Yeah, the North Street.
yeah, as I was.
Yeah, we're on there talking
The
about
same day I sent the email.
Is that in the area in the map?
Yes. Down, the one block actually is, it comes towards Borough Hall, but not, if I say DPW, I apologize. Down towards Borough Hall is, if it comes the other way, it's not.
Okay, so it doesn't look like it covers the North Street.
It actually goes to Miller, so it's the other side of 2nd. I misspoke with the DPW side. It's actually the other side of Miller Street, that area of 2nd, which goes.
Just Miller, though, not North.
No,
Yeah,
right.
correct, yeah.
So that was, we couldn't do North Street with this.
Couldn't do with this.
That's a lot.
Most of this area is all in the slope.
Yes.
Most of the area is along the slope, and the area itself seems amiss from what was done in years past. I mean, a lot of the streets along the waterfront, which was in the eligible area.
Well, it's done by census tract data.
Right.
So as the income levels on the last census tract data continue to improve in different areas, that's why the area is shrinking. That's not just in Highlands, that's across the whole county. So it is done specifically on census tract data as that. We used to be area eligible, the whole town is pretty much eligible, and that's changing year to year, and it's going to be shrinking again.
So the reality is we're probably looking, let's just say it's south of Waterwich, going towards Miller in that, colored area, right?
Yeah, just a one block segment along the
where
way.
you don't have as much slope, and obviously there's some streets where we use it quite obviously down there. Okay, so maybe your team will come up with something.
And then how much do we pay if we get this grant? What's the match? Because I'm just trying to think, if we're gonna go ahead and pick streets that we're not really sure about, or, and then we have streets like North Street, is it better just to bite the bullet?
Let me just answer. From the community development standpoint, right now, you can apply